Well, it's been a minute since we kicked out a video, and thanks for tuning back in again. In our last video, we were leaving Vero Beach and heading on up to Cocoa Beach. And then from Cocoa Beach, we were headed up to New Smyrna Beach, where we spent about a week touring New Smyrna, the Canal Street area, did some heavy-duty grilling, and things got a little hot towards the end. In today's video, we finish up our time in New Smyrna Beach, where we head on down to Flagler Ave on beachside, find a little speakeasy, spend a little time on the beach, and then we start to mosey our way on up to Daytona Beach, meet some friends along the way, end up at Halifax Marina, do a few maintenance jobs, crash a party, and well, catch up on a little more maintenance. Have you ever dreamed of selling it all and cruising into the sunset? Well, that's exactly what we did. It's no fun going it alone though, so why don't you join us for the ride? We spent the better part of last week in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. We spent a little time on Canal Street, but we also spent a lot of time on Flagler. Flagler is full of shops and restaurants and bars. Our favorite has to be Flagler Tavern. The food is great, and downstairs is very lively, often with live music, and upstairs has a nice little speakeasy. And great people watching from the porch as well. And you never really know what you're going to find on the avenue. Short walk away, and on the beach you'll find Tony and Joe's. Great place to go for a painkiller. In my opinion, the food is just okay, but the view is pretty darn good. And like Daytona Beach, you could also drive on the beach. After our week in New Smyrna, we headed off to Halifax Marina and Daytona Beach, about an hour-and-a-half ride. And to our good fortune on the way, we ran into our friends on the sailing vessel Oz. Of course, we had to stop and say hello. Fortunately, it was an absolutely beautiful weather day for a cruise up to Daytona. In this area, we're passing Ponce Inlet, and you could see the Ponce Lighthouse in the distance. We heard a lot of reports that the Army Corps of Engineers was dredging around the inlet, and we saw some signs, but we didn't see the dredger itself. As far as depths go, we saw absolutely no problems or no sign of any shifting sands. We did learn that there's a number of flight schools in the New Smyrna Beach and Daytona area, and these training flyers were non-stop, back and forth and doing touch and goes. So in between our winter and summer cruising seasons, we like to pick up a marina for about 4 to 6 weeks. We could take care of medical appointments and also any sort of boat maintenance projects. We like Halifax Marina in Daytona. It's owned by the city and has over 500 slips. Daytona always has a lot going on, and the marina's at a great location. Island Time got a nice convenient slip assignment this time, right at the head of the dock. There's plenty of parking there and a building that's convenient to each finger dock that houses the laundry and bathrooms and showers. There's a nice paved walkway around the property that is about a mile in length. The marina also houses the Freedom Boat Club, which is a membership club where you pay a certain amount every month and have access to pontoon boats, center consoles, and deck boats. It really is a pretty good deal. I would highly recommend joining a boating club if you're thinking of getting into boating. There's nothing like coming for the day, grabbing a set of keys, taking a boat out, and returning it and handing the keys off to somebody at the end of the day. It's just that easy. There's also a swanky little restaurant on site called Mama Fufu, and also a paddle wheel boat that takes folks out for day and dinner cruises. Neither of which are owned by the marina themselves. They're both privately operated. There's also a very large public boat ramp where I think you can launch about 8 boats at a time. It's really nice and very crowded on the weekends. Being a municipal marina, it doesn't have a lot of amenities, but the trade-off is it's a lower cost than most marinas. The marina also has 2 sets of fuel docks that are very well protected, and they also offer water and pump-out facilities. The main office houses a little store that has some gifts and apparel. So you can get some cold wine and beer. And they also have a nice little area where you can get packages delivered either from Amazon or UPS and FedEx. There's still a few signs of some repair work needing to be done from the storms a few years ago, but everything's pretty much coming along. The paved pathway snakes nicely through the property, and the grounds are very well manicured. And I get a sense that somebody's been feeding the squirrels. Yes, I did say the path snakes along. No worries, it's a harmless black racer. They eat lizards and mice. And that path snakes back and takes you by the North Basin, where you find the Daytona Beach Yacht Club, and also some fixed docks that are being replaced and are part of Halifax Marina. Hopefully the new ones will be floating docks. So Pancake has some medical stuff that needs attention too. She needs her teeth cleaned about once a year, and typically we have to take her to the vet and go under anesthesia, which is kind of dangerous. So Lori found this mobile service that comes and actually does it on site without any anesthesia. And the cleaning was probably a quarter of the cost of what it would have been for the vet. It worked out super well, and as you can see, Pancake's teeth came out amazing. The before and after pictures really speak for themselves.
Okay, we're doing some maintenance today. So these are the port holes or port lights, and there's a number of them on the boat, and it opens from the inside and lets ventilation in. There's a little window on the inside, a little plastic window, and it has this trim ring around the entire outside. What we noticed when we were like last day leaving the Bahamas was we lost the trim ring on this one right here. For some reason the flat plate is totally missing. So I ordered a new one from Bexon, and that's the manufacturer. So in order to put it on, you have to clean what looks like the old silicone caulk which is all around the outside, else the new one won't fit in there, or it won't stay, the adhesive won't adhere. So silicone against silicone doesn't work, so I've got to scrape it off. So what I've done is went to trusty Amazon and bought this little scraper. It's got regular razor blades and also some plastic razor blades, and I'm gonna use that to get the old caulk off, then go get some more adhesive and put the new one on. So it should be a fairly easy job and not require 8 trips to Ace, Home Depot, marine stores, etc. I think we may have this one. We'll see. So I already masked it off so I don't, with some painter's tape, so I don't scratch the hull as I'm scraping it off little by little. So hopefully it should go fairly easy. So I pretty much have it all cleaned out. Now I'm going to take 120 grit, or actually 220 grit sandpaper, and just kind of rough all around where the old one was. You're supposed to rough it up in case there's a residue of caulk, so that the new silicone adhesive sticks to it. So it probably roughs up any old bit of caulk and a little bit of the fiberglass that might be around it. And then we'll put the new trim ring on. And here's the new trim ring here. And it fits like so. We'll put a bead of the silicone adhesive all around it first, obviously, and then press it in. Here's a look at the finished product. It came out pretty good. Hopefully it'll hold up.
There's something always going on in the boating community. We stumbled upon these folks that just completed the Great Loop. We're having a party. They saw that we were boaters and they invited us in for food and drink. Back at our slip, we noticed this rather gorgeous bird, which I think is some type of heron, perched on the railing of the boat next door to us. He was pretty much chilling out, just preening himself, hanging out in the sunshine, until Pancake came out, and then he sort of got on high alert. Or was it Pancake? You see, there's always a lot of fish jumping, and this little heron was a bit of an opportunist. He swooped down and speared that fish with his bill in like 2 seconds. Anyhow, another reason to love Daytona is the airport. It's amazingly convenient. There's only about 5 gates, and there's never more than like 2 planes there at a time. No lines, no waiting. TSA is absolutely tiny. And you get a nice view of the Daytona Motor Speedway right next to the runway. Not to mention the fact that you get a great view of Daytona Beach as you take off over the ocean.
So we've been back from the Bahamas for about a month now, and we're hanging out in Florida, having a good old time, but it's time to do some maintenance because we're going to take a trip up north for the summer. We're going to go up to the Rhode Island area. It's about 1,500 miles. It's going to be a lot of wear and tear on the engine, so I just changed the oil in both engines. It took me about 2 hours with cleanup. That all went well, but I noticed on my starboard engine that there's some belt dust from the V-belt, the fan belt, like in a car. It's a wearable item, and I've noticed that it's putting some dust there, and I've never changed the belt on this engine. I think, I don't know when the previous owner did, so we put a lot of hours on it, since we purchased it, probably close to 800. I think it's time to change it. We don't want it to fail as we cruise up north, because then it'll be bigger problems and we'll overheat and maybe cause some damage. So definitely a item I want to take care of. So we're in the starboard aft cabin, and that's where the engine's located, under the bed here. I already have the engine compartment open because I was changing the oil. I don't know if you could see up over here, there's dust. There's dust all over the alternator, the front of this cover, the front of the flywheel. So this is the belt I was talking about. So that's the alternator that charges the batteries, or the start batteries on the boat. And that's the flywheel there. I believe that's the water pump. And as the engine turns, it spins this belt to move the pump and to energize the alternator. So this is the belt that needs to be changed, and basically it should be pretty easy. It's just like a car. This is the pivot bolt here, and the alternator pivots along this axis here, back and forth. And this other bolt here, you can loosen, and then it's kind of an adjustment, and adjust the tension on this belt. And you want it to be only about a 1/2 inch play. I think now there's a little bit more than that, but we'll install a new belt and take care of this. Hopefully it'll fix the problem. I've got my wet dry vac here, and what I'm going to do is vacuum up all of this old dust here and clean that up, and that is the job of the day. First, what we're doing is we're loosening up the pivot bolt. I have a socket set, and I think a 14mm metric socket. And that loosens that up. Then we'll attack this bolt back there, the tension bolt. Now the tension bolt is 13mm. Loosen that enough, and then loosen it by hand. And then this whole alternator should pivot backwards here, as it does, and you can see here it pivots along this axis here, or along that axis down there, but along the adjustment here. I should move it left, and then this whole belt should come right off of the alternator. Put the new belt on. That's as easy as it is to take out the old belt.
The new belt is installed. She's running just fine. She's pumping water through. The exhaust is coming out. We're good to go. That's a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe to our channel.